After this blow to Harren's power, he ordered the lords of the Riverlands to defend Harrenhal, but they did not come. Instead, Lord Edmund Tully led the River Lords in a rebellion against R.R Rule. With the numbers now in Aegon's favor, Harren the Black took his forces and pulled into the fortress, preparing to outlast Aegon's siege. Lord after lord swore their swords to King Aegon Targaryen, adding their armies to his own. King Aegon and King Harren met under a white banner at the gates of Harrenhal, where Aegon offered Harren his terms for the final time. Harren refused the offer, certain that his mighty fortress will keep him alive. However, this would prove to be his downfall. As the sun was setting, Aegon, mounted on Balerion the Black Dread, descended from the skies above the grand castle of Harrenhal. The fires that came after melted the very towers that shaped the fortress, burning Harren, the last of his sons, and his armies as the sun dipped below the horizon. On the next day, King Aegon named Edmund Tully Lord Paramount of the Tridents. Aegon and his men collected the molten and twisted swords of the Ironborn within Harrenhal and sent them back to the Aegonforts. As King Aegon was finishing his campaign in the Riverlands, Rhaenys Baratheon led a great host across the Blackwater Rush and made for Storm's End. Along with a large host of Hoares, Rhaenys Targaryen rode Meraxes toward Storm's End as well. The Storm King Argilac Durrandon gathered his bannermen at Storm's End, ready to meet Rhaenys Baratheon's host. As this was happening, pirates in the Stepstones raided Cape Wrath, and the Dornishmen of the Red Mountains attacked the Dornish in the Marches. As the Baratheon forces crossed the Windwater, the Lords Errol, Fell, and Buckler led a surprise assault on Rhaenys, killing a large amount of the host before pulling back. Rhaenys followed the enemy into the woods, ordering Meraxes to set them on fire. The blaze burned hard and killed Lord Errol and many of his men. At Storm's End, King Argilac received word of King Harren's fall and marched his host north to meet Rhaenys Baratheon in the field. Rhaenys saw the army from the sky and warned Rhaenys. He then had his men create a strong position south of Bronzegate and made ready for the Stormlanders. Argilac attacked the Baratheon host in the midst of a strong storm, in what would later be known as the Last Storm. The Stormlander Knights charged the enemy line once, and then twice, and then a third time. On the third, they broke through the Baratheon lines and charged straight at Queen Rhaenys. King Argilac's royal guards were bathed in fire, as Argilac was thrown from his saddle. Rhaenys gave King Argilac the Arrogant a chance to yield, but he refused and instead spat curses at Rhaenys. Rhaenys, with the blood and strength of a Baratheon, slew the Storm King in single combats. The remaining Stormlanders ceased to fight and dropped their blades in defeat, fleeing from the battlefield as the storm raged on. At Storm's End, King Argilac's daughter declared herself queen and barred the castle's gates. The defenders of Storm's End decided that they would not die for a lost cause and delivered Queen Argilla to Rhaenys Baratheon's camp. There, Rhaenys Baratheon took Argilla as his wife and adopted the words and sigil of House Durrandon as his own. Ours is of a fury. King Aegon the Conqueror named Rhaenys as Lord Paramount of the Stormlands and gave him lordship of Storm's End. At Cracklaw Point, Queen Visenya Targaryen demanded that the lords dip their banners and join King Aegon. The many lords of Cracklaw Point knew that they had no chance of victory and laid down their swords. Visenya had them swear fealty to House Targaryen and the true king of Westeros. They would become direct vassals of House Targaryen, with no paramount lord. In the west, the kings of Highgarden and Casterly Rock joined to fight against a common enemy. From Highgarden marched King Mern Gardener IX, king of the Reach. With him he brought a very large host, numbering in the tens of thousands. At Golden Grove, King Mern's forces joined with Lorne Lannister, king of the Rock, who brought his own huge host from the Westerlands. The two armies were the largest ever assembled in Westeros at that time, with the highest concentration of knights ever seen in a single army. The vast army marched northwards to meet the self-proclaimed king of Westeros in battle. King Aegon's host was recovering from fighting the Ironborn host near the God's Eye when they received word of a grand army marching to destroy them. Aegon the Conqueror led his men to meet the enemy host, which vastly outnumbered his own. When Aegon arrived at Stony Sept, he was met by Queen Rhaenys from Storm's End and Queen Visenya from Cracklaw Point. It was there, at the vast plain south of the Blackwater Rush, where the two armies met. House Gardener commanded the center, House Lannister the right, and House Oakhart on the left. The army of the west was so vast that a single charge from its knights nearly smashed the Targaryen army. Aegon, mounted on Balerion, accompanied by Queen Rhaenys mounted on Meraxes, and Queen Visenya mounted on Vhagar, descended from the clouds and unleashed hell on the enemy. The fires engulfed over 5,000 men, leaving tens of thousands with heavy burns. King Mern and his heirs were mortally wounded by the fires, which brought on the end of House Gardener. King Lorne Lannister got away, but was captured in the following days, and swore fealty to King Aegon. Lorne was named Warden of the West, and his lords knelt to King Aegon the Conqueror. Aegon wasted no time in marching on Highgarden, where he was met with Harlan Tyrell, the steward of House Gardener. Harlan yielded the castle without a fight, and for it was rewarded with wardenship of the South, as well as being named Lord Paramount of the Mander.